James Bond's BMW R1200C from Tomorrow Never Dies looked like the perfect spy motorcycle with its sleek cruiser styling and high-tech gadgets. BMW paid millions for product placement, convinced Bond's endorsement would make this radical departure from traditional BMW design a sales success. The bike featured rockets, a self-destruct mechanism, and cutting-edge technology that wowed audiences worldwide. But why did BMW build a motorcycle that contradicted everything their brand stood for? How did the film bike's modifications nearly kill a stunt rider? And what made this collaboration between Bond and BMW one of the biggest commercial failures in franchise history? These are 20 weird facts about James Bond's BMW R1200C that will blow your mind. Number 20. The controversial cruiser. Designed BMW shocked the motorcycle world in 1997 by releasing the R1200C, their first cruiser-style motorcycle. This wasn't just a new model, it was heresy. BMW built their reputation on boxer twins with traditional upright seating positions and touring capability. The R1200C featured forward controls, a low seat, and styling that mimicked Harley-Davidson's cruiser aesthetic. Purists revolted immediately. BMW owners accused the company of selling out, abandoning their engineering heritage to chase American market share. The design came from chief stylist David Robb, wanted to prove BMW could compete in every motorcycle segment. He sketched a bike that combined BMW's signature boxer engine with American cruiser proportions. The engine sat low in a tubular steel frame. The fuel tank stretched long and lean. Chrome accents appeared everywhere, completely unlike BMW's typically understated approach. Internal company debates raged for 2 years before approving production. Engineers argued the cruiser format contradicted BMW's touring focus. Marketing countered that Harley-Davidson dominated the profitable cruiser segment, while BMW had zero presence. Finance sided with marketing, and the R1200C entered production. The motorcycle press gave mixed reviews. Some praised BMW's boldness in trying something different. Others criticized the awkward proportions and compromised ergonomics. Then, Tomorrow Never Dies selected the R1200C as Bond's ride, and suddenly the controversial cruiser became a movie star. Number 19. The $30 million product placement. BMW paid approximately $30 million to place their vehicles in Tomorrow Never Dies, making it one of the most expensive product placement deals in cinema history. This wasn't just about the R1200C motorcycle. The deal included Bond's 750iL sedan and prominent BMW branding throughout the film. BMW's marketing division justified the astronomical cost through projected global exposure. Tomorrow Never Dies would screen in over 80 countries, with an estimated audience of 500 million viewers. Traditional advertising couldn't buy that kind of reach. The contract gave BMW creative control over how their products appeared on screen. They demanded the vehicles be portrayed as sophisticated, reliable, and technologically advanced. No breaking down, no mechanical failures, no jokes at BMW's expense. BMW sent engineers to Pinewood Studios to supervise the motorcycle modifications. They reviewed every script page featuring the R1200C, suggesting changes to dialogue and action sequences. The special effects team had to submit detailed plans for how they'd film the bike's gadgets without damaging BMW's brand image. This level of corporate oversight frustrated director Roger Spottiswoode and the production design team. They wanted creative freedom to make Bond's bike as outrageous as previous vehicles. BMW wanted restraint and realism. The compromise satisfied neither party completely. BMW executives attended the London premiere, expecting their $30 million investment to revolutionize motorcycle sales. The aftermath would prove far different from their projections. Number 18. The 5 identical bikes. The production built 5 identical R1200C motorcycles, each customized for specific filming purposes. BMW supplied the base bikes at no cost, part of their product placement agreement. Special effects supervisor Chris Corbold's team transformed them into Q-branch masterpieces. Bike number 1 was the hero machine for close-ups and dialogue scenes. It featured all the cosmetic gadgets, but nothing functional. The rocket launchers were fiberglass mock-ups. The self-destruct mechanism was just LED lights and switches. This bike looked perfect on camera, but couldn't actually do any of the stunts. Bike number 2 was the riding bike, mechanically stock except for performance modifications. The stunt team needed reliable power and handling for chase sequences. They bored out the engine, upgraded the suspension, and reinforced the frame. This bike had minimal gadgets because the weight affected performance. Bike number 3 was the pyrotechnic platform. It contained all the functional weapon systems and explosive charges. This bike rarely moved under its own power. Technicians wheeled it into position, wired everything up, and remotely triggered effects. Bike number 4 served as the stunt bike for crashes and jumps. It had a reinforced frame, expendable bodywork, and no expensive gadgets. When this bike got destroyed, nobody worried about replacing costly components. Bike number 5 existed as a parts donor and backup. When the other bikes broke, technicians cannibalized number 5 to keep them running. By filming's end, Bike 5 was a bare frame with no engine or bodywork. Number 17, the rocket launcher. Engineering. Those surface-to-air missiles emerging from the fairing weren't just movie magic. Chris Corbold built functional rocket launchers that actually fired projectiles. Obviously, they didn't fire real missiles. Insurance companies would never allow that. Instead, the launchers used compressed air cannons that propelled lightweight fiberglass rockets. The engineering was incredibly complex. The rockets had to store inside the fairing panels without affecting the bike's appearance. When activated, hydraulic rams pushed the fairing sections apart, while pneumatic lifts raised the launcher tubes. The entire deployment sequence took exactly 2.3 seconds. Corbold's team tested the mechanism hundreds of times to ensure reliability. Early prototypes failed constantly. The hydraulics would stick, the fairings would jam. The launcher tubes would deploy unevenly. They redesigned the system 4 times before achieving consistent performance. The compressed air system operated at 120 psi, enough pressure to launch the lightweight rockets approximately 60 feet. Special effects riggers positioned targets with explosive charges. When the rockets hit, technicians remotely detonated the charges, creating impressive fireballs. The rockets themselves were balsa wood cores wrapped in fiberglass, painted to look metallic. Each one cost 80 pounds to manufacture, and most got destroyed in single takes. The production budget allocated 15,000 pounds just for replacement rockets. The launcher system added 73 pounds to the bike's weight, all concentrated high in the fairing. This dramatically affected handling, making the bike front-heavy and unstable at speed. Number 16, the self-destruct mechanism. Danger.
No! I'm sorry. Get off! Get off! Get off!
Bond's dramatic escape by ejecting from the exploding motorcycle created one of the film's most memorable moments. It also nearly killed stunt rider Jean-Pierre Gouy. The self-destruct sequence required perfect timing across multiple effects. First, smoke charges would ignite inside the bodywork. Then shape charges would blow the bodywork apart. Finally, a larger explosion would engulf the bike in flames. Gouy had to bail off the bike at exactly the right moment. Too early, and the shot wouldn't work. Too late, and he'd be inside the fireball. The stunt required weeks of rehearsal. Gouy practiced the dismount repeatedly, learning to push off at precisely the right instant, while the bike was still moving at 30 miles per hour. The timing window was less than half a second. Miss it either direction, and the stunt failed, or Gouy got burned. The actual filming used 3 cameras running at different frame rates to capture every angle. On the first take, one of the shape charges detonated early. Gouy had already committed to the dismount, but the explosion happened beneath him instead of behind him. Shrapnel from the fragmenting bodywork peppered his protective suit. One piece sliced through his jacket and opened a 3-inch gash on his shoulder. Production shut down while medics treated the wound. The special effects team investigated what went wrong. They discovered a faulty electrical connection had triggered the charge prematurely. After replacing all the wiring and adding redundant safety systems, they tried again 2 days later. The second take worked perfectly, creating the spectacular sequence audiences saw in theaters. Number 15. The hidden BMW logo. Requirement. BMW's contract contained a bizarre clause requiring their logo to be visible in every shot, featuring the R1200C. This created nightmares for cinematographer Robert Elswede and his camera operators. The roundel logo appeared on the fuel tank, but depending on camera angle, it might be hidden by Bond's body or facing away from the lens. BMW representatives reviewed dailies and flagged shots where the logo wasn't visible. They demanded reshoots. The production team pushed back, arguing that prioritizing logo placement over dramatic composition made no sense. BMW threatened to withhold future cooperation if the contract wasn't honored. They'd paid $30 million specifically for brand visibility. The compromise involved adding additional BMW roundels to the fairing sides and rear fender. This gave cinematographers more options to include logo visibility regardless of shooting angle. But it also made the bike look like a rolling advertisement, covered in more BMW badges than factory models. Roger Spottiswoode hated the excessive branding, calling it crass commercialization. He wanted Bond's motorcycle to look cool and functional, not like a trade show display. The extra logos stayed. Editor Michel Arcon discovered another problem in post-production. Several crucial shots had no logo visibility whatsoever. Rather than reshoot, visual effects artists digitally added BMW roundels in post. They painted logos onto surfaces where none existed, ensuring every frame satisfied BMW's contractual requirements. This subtle digital manipulation cost an additional £45,000, but kept BMW executives happy and avoided expensive reshoots. Number 14. The Handlebar missile controversy. The script originally called for missiles launching from the handlebars, a design Q branch rejected as too unstable. BMW engineers agreed. Mounting weapons on the handlebars would affect steering precision and create dangerous recoil forces. They convinced the writers to relocate the missiles to the fairing. But production designer Alan Cameron loved the handlebar concept visually. He argued that Bond films weren't realistic, they were fantasies. Rule of cool trumped engineering sense. The compromise moved surface-to-air missiles to the fairing, but added smaller weapons to the handlebars. The final design featured retractable spikes that emerged from the bar ends. These spikes served dual purposes: weapons for close combat and tools for puncturing car tires during pursuits. Building retractable handlebar spikes proved more difficult than expected. The mechanisms had to fit inside the hollow handlebars without interfering with brake and clutch cables. Corbett's team designed spring-loaded systems that kept the spikes retracted until electric solenoids released them. The spikes shot out 6 inches in less than 1 second, fast enough to startle actors during rehearsal. Pierce Brosnan accidentally triggered them during a scene run-through and nearly stabbed a camera operator. After that incident, the handlebar weapons were disabled until actual filming. The spikes themselves were hardened steel with razor-sharp points. For close-up shots, prop makers created rubber duplicates that looked identical but couldn't actually hurt anyone. Jean-Pierre Goy used the real spikes during the motorcycle chase, riding within inches of stunt cars and deploying the weapons to slash tires on cue. Number 13. The garage remote control scene. The remote control driving sequence where Bond pilots the 750 from the back seat became so popular that BMW wanted a similar scene for the R1200C. The problem? Motorcycles can't be driven remotely without a rider for balance. BIAN NEW engineers proposed building a gyroscopic stabilization system, similar to technology used in military drones. The system would use spinning flywheels to maintain balance while the bike operated under remote control. Chris Corbould loved the concept, but the budget and timeline made it impossible. Developing functional gyroscopic stabilization would cost hundreds of thousands of pounds and require months of testing. The The production needed the bike ready in 6 weeks. The compromise was clever misdirection. They filmed Bond controlling the bike remotely, but only while riding it. The dashboard touchscreen showed him selecting weapons and activating gadgets, creating the illusion of autonomous operation. For shots requiring the bike to move without a rider, they used wires and a hidden electric motor. Technicians pulled the bike along on nearly invisible cables, while the motor turned the rear wheel, making it appear self-propelled. Wide shots disguised the deception. Close-ups focused on the control interface in Bond's hands. Quick editing prevented audiences from questioning the physics. BMW still marketed the R1200C as having remote control capability, even though the technology never existed. Dealerships fielded questions from customers asking about the feature. Sales staff had to explain it was pure movie fiction, disappointing potential buyers who wanted their own remotely piloted motorcycle. Number 12. The Stunt Rider. Replacement drama. Jean-Pierre Gouy was originally the primary stunt rider, but production replaced him halfway through filming after BMW complained about his riding style. Gouy was fearless and spectacular, executing jumps and slides that looked amazing on camera. But BMW executives watching dailies worried he made the R1200C look unstable and difficult to control. They wanted smooth, controlled riding that showcased the bike's handling rather than dramatic stunt work. BMW pressured the production to hire a different rider who would be less aggressive. This created massive tension on set. Gouy had trained for months, learned the bike's quirks, and built relationships with the stunt coordinator and special effects team. Replacing him mid-production seemed both disrespectful and impractical. Director Roger Spottiswoode defended Gouy, arguing his riding made the chase sequences exciting. Boring, controlled riding would put audiences to sleep. BMW threatened to withdraw cooperation and demand their bikes be returned. The standoff lasted 3 days before reaching a compromise. Gouy would continue performing the dangerous stunts, crashes, explosions, and high-speed chases. A second rider, approved by BMW, would film the beauty shots, smooth cruising, tight cornering, and anything showcasing the bike's handling characteristics. The second rider was Andy Bradford, a British racer known for smooth, precise riding. Bradford spent 2 weeks learning the modified R1200C before filming his sequences. The final film intercuts between Gouy's aggressive stunt riding and Bradford's polished performance. Most viewers never noticed two different riding styles because the editing disguised the switch. Number 11. The weight distribution. Nightmare. Adding gadgets, weapons, and armor plating increased the R1200C's weight by 217 pounds. The stock bike weighed 566 pounds wet. The movie bike topped 783 pounds fully equipped. This dramatic weight increase destroyed the handling characteristics BMW engineers had carefully developed. The additional weight wasn't evenly distributed either, most concentrated high and forward. The rocket launchers in the fairing, armor plating around the fuel tank, electronics packages in the dash. This raised the center of gravity and created dangerous front-end weight bias. Stunt riders complained the bike felt like wrestling a refrigerator on wheels. Low-speed maneuvers required enormous effort. The heavy front end resisted turning and wanted to flop over when stopped. Jean-Pierre Gouy developed massive forearm muscles just from fighting the handlebars during filming. High-speed stability suffered too. The raised center of gravity made the bike want to weave and wobble. Crosswinds that wouldn't affect a stock R1200C pushed the movie bike across lanes. Stunt coordinator Vic Armstrong ordered maximum speed limited to 60 miles per hour after a high-speed test run nearly ended in disaster. The production considered removing some gadgets to reduce weight, but BMW's contract required all the weapon systems to be visible. The compromise involved building lightweight mock-ups of certain components. The rocket launcher tubes were hollow aluminum instead of steel. Armor panels were fiberglass painted to look like metal. These substitutions saved approximately 48 pounds, but the bike still handled terribly compared to stock. Number 10. The tire shredding problem. The Production destroyed 63 rear tires during filming, an unprecedented number that shocked both BMW and Dunlop, the tire supplier. Standard motorcycle filming might use 8 to 12 tires total. Tomorrow Never Dies burned through tires at an alarming rate for several reasons. First, the added weight stressed the rear tire beyond its design limits. The stock R1200C used Dunlop's D404 touring tire, rated for 566 pounds. The movie bike weighed 783 pounds, exceeding the tire's load capacity by 38%. Second, the stunt riding style required constant hard acceleration and braking. Jean-Pierre Gouy would slam the throttle, spin the rear tire in dramatic burnouts, then lock the rear brake and slide sideways. This abuse destroyed tires in hours instead of thousands of miles. Third, the pyrotechnic effects generated intense heat that damaged the rubber compounds. After explosion sequences, mechanics would find the rear tire's sidewalls blistered and deformed from radiant heat exposure. Dunlop sent engineers to Pinewood Studios to investigate. They recommended switching to their Sport Max race tire, designed for higher loads and abuse. The production tried them, but discovered the aggressive tread pattern looked wrong on camera. The touring tire's smooth profile matched the bike's cruiser aesthetic better, so they stuck with D404s and accepted the wastage. Dunlop supplied tires free as part of their sponsorship deal, but their accountants weren't happy about the unprecedented consumption rate. Mechanics changed tires an average of once every 2.4 days of filming. They developed a speed record of 14 minutes from wheel removal to reinstallation, tested and ready. Number 9, the exhaust note fakery. That distinctive exhaust note wasn't coming from the R1200C's boxer engine. Sound designers replaced it entirely in post-production because BMW's engineers had made the bike too quiet. The R1200C featured BMW's then-new catalytic converter technology and carefully tuned exhaust routing designed to meet strict European noise regulations. The result was a motorcycle that sounded refined and muted, perfect for touring, but terrible for action films. BMW insisted the production use the stock exhaust system to showcase their emissions technology. They refused to allow aftermarket pipes that would make the bike louder, but non-compliant with regulations. This created a massive problem during editing. The quiet exhaust made chase scenes feel sedate and boring. Test audiences complained the bike sounded weak compared to previous Bond vehicles. Sound designer Per Hallberg solved it by recording a completely different motorcycle. They used a Ducati 916 with racing exhausts, known for its aggressive mechanical sound. The Ducati's 90-degree V-twin had a completely different firing order than BMW's opposed boxer twin, but most audiences couldn't tell the difference. Sound editors synchronized the Ducati recordings to match the on-screen throttle position and engine speed. They added layers of mechanical sounds, gear whine, chain noise, intake roar, building a soundtrack that suggested power and aggression. BMW executives were furious when they discovered the deception. Their contract required authentic BMW sounds throughout the film. The production argued that authentic meant boring and would hurt ticket sales. The compromise allowed the fake exhaust in action sequences, but required real BMW sounds during dialogue scenes and close-ups. Watch carefully, and you'll hear the bike's personality change between dramatic riding and calm moments. Number 8. The digital speedometer disaster. The R1200C featured BMW's new digital instrument cluster, cutting-edge technology for 1997. The LCD screen displayed speed, gear position, fuel level, and various system information. For normal riding, it worked perfectly. For filming, it became a nightmare. The digital display refreshed at 60 Hz, the same frequency as European electrical systems. Film cameras shot at 24 frames per second. The mismatch created strobing effects where the display appeared to flicker or show garbled information on screen. Cinematographer Robert L. Switt discovered this problem during the first week of filming. Close-up shots of the speedometer showed rolling bars and digital artifacts that looked terrible. The production considered replacing the digital display with analog gauges, but BMW's contract prohibited modifications to customer-visible components. The speedometer stayed digital. Visual effects supervisor John Richardson found a workaround. They filmed the speedometer separately using high-speed cameras at 120 frames per second. This faster frame rate synchronized better with the display's refresh cycle, eliminating most artifacts. Then they composited the clean speedometer footage into the main shots during post-production. This solution added £68,000 to the visual effects budget and required frame-by-frame compositing for every speedometer shot. Some scenes still show subtle flickering because tight deadlines prevented perfect fixes for every frame. Modern audiences watching on LCD televisions experience even worse artifacts because their displays create additional interference patterns. The digital speedometer that BMW touted as advanced technology became one of the film's biggest technical headaches. Number 7. The abandoned sidecar sequence. The original script included a spectacular sequence where Bond attached a weaponized sidecar to the R1200C and rescued Wai Lin while fighting henchmen. The scene required 3 weeks of preparation and was ultimately cut entirely from the final film. Chris Corbold's team built a custom sidecar matching the bike's aesthetic, complete with its own weapon systems. The sidecar featured a forward-facing machine gun, smoke dispensers, and an ejection seat for launching Wai Lin onto pursuing vehicles. Engineering a sidecar for the R1200C presented unique challenges. BMW never designed this model for sidecar use. The frame lacked mounting points, and the suspension wasn't configured for asymmetric loading. Corbold's team had to fabricate custom mounting brackets and reinforce the frame to handle the additional weight and stress. The sidecar added 341 pounds to the already overweight bike, creating a total mass of over 1,100 pounds. Handling became comically bad. The bike required 2 people to move when stationary. Turning right against the sidecar's weight demanded enormous effort. Turning left with the sidecar on the outside of the curve made the whole assembly want to flip over. Stunt tests revealed the sidecar configuration was genuinely dangerous above 30 miles per hour. After 2 minor crashes during rehearsals, stunt coordinator Vic Armstrong recommended cutting the sequence entirely. Director Roger Spottiswoode agreed reluctantly. The sidecar footage that exists shows how spectacular it could have been, but safety concerns overruled ambition. The completed sidecar now sits in a private collection, a monument to an action sequence that never made the screen. Number 6. The Chinese market censorship.
It has a displacement of 1,170 cubic centimeter, rated power of...
BMW discovered too late that Tomorrow Never Dies faced severe censorship in China, one of their target growth markets. The film portrayed Chinese military officers as villains and showed Hong Kong in chaos during the handover period. Chinese censors banned the film entirely, eliminating BMW's expected exposure to 1.3 billion potential customers. This catastrophic miscalculation cost BMW dearly. Their marketing strategy projected significant R1200C sales in Asia based on Bond's popularity. The Chinese ban eliminated the world's largest potential motorcycle market before the film even premiered. BMW executives had reviewed the script, but focused on how their products were portrayed, not geopolitical implications. They never anticipated that a Bond film's plot would trigger government censorship. The realization came just 3 weeks before the Chinese premiere, when censors issued their ban. BMW scrambled to arrange alternative marketing in other Asian markets: Japan, Taiwan, Thailand, Malaysia, but none approached China's market size. The company considered demanding a refund from the production, arguing that censorship violated the spirit of their product placement agreement. Legal teams determined the contract contained no provisions regarding market access or government censorship. BMW had paid $30 million for global exposure, but the most important market never saw the film. Internal company reviews later criticized the marketing division for not conducting due diligence on the script's political content. The R1200C's failure to gain traction in Asia was attributed partly to losing the China launch opportunity. BMW never attempted another major Bond product placement deal. Number 5. The temperature regulation failure. Pierce Brosnan suffered heat exhaustion twice during filming because the R1200C's bodywork trapped engine heat against his legs. BMW designed the bike's extensive body panels for aesthetics, creating smooth, flowing lines that hid mechanical components. They never considered sustained low-speed operation in hot climates. The Boxer engine cylinders protruded from both sides of the bike, positioned directly beside the rider's calves. Under normal riding conditions, airflow cooled everything adequately. During filming, the bike often idled for extended periods between takes or crawled at walking speed during technical shots. The engine heat built up inside the bodywork with nowhere to dissipate. Brosnan's first heat exhaustion incident occurred during the Vietnamese garage sequence filmed on a soundstage in 90-degree heat. The bike idled for 45 minutes while cameras were repositioned and lighting adjusted. Brosnan remained seated to maintain continuity. The trapped heat inside his leather costume combined with engine temperature created dangerous conditions. He became dizzy and disoriented, requiring medical attention and 2 hours of recovery. Production added cooling breaks and mandatory hydration protocols after that incident. The second occurrence happened during the Hamburg chase sequence filmed in summer. Stop-and-go filming in city traffic meant constant idling. BMW sent engineers to investigate whether engine cooling modifications were possible. They determined that any significant changes would alter the bike's appearance, violating BMW's requirement for stock aesthetics. The solution involved industrial fans positioned off-camera to blow air across the engine and rider during setup. Production assistants monitored Brosnan's condition constantly, watching for heat stress symptoms. Despite precautions, Brosnan later called the R1200C the most physically uncomfortable vehicle he'd ridden in any Bond film. Number 4. The sales disappointment BMW.
I'm really not the biggest fan of this bike. I admire what BMW have tried to do with being so different, but to be
Projected that Bond's endorsement would sell 50,000 R1200C motorcycles worldwide in 1998. They sold exactly 4,783 units, less than 10% of projections. This spectacular failure haunted BMW's marketing division for years and ended product placement as a primary strategy for motorcycle launches. What went wrong? First, the R1200C cost nearly £15,000, pricing it above most competitors while offering less performance. The Harley-Davidson Fat Boy provided similar cruiser styling for £3,000 less. Japanese cruisers from Honda and Yamaha undercut BMW by nearly half. Second, BMW's traditional customer base rejected the cruiser concept entirely. They wanted touring bikes and sport bikes, not chrome-covered cruisers that mimicked American styling. The R1200C appealed to neither BMW loyalists nor Harley enthusiasts. Third, the bike suffered reliability problems that damaged its reputation quickly. Early production units experienced transmission failures, electrical issues, and premature clutch wear. BMW issued 3 separate recalls during the first year. Word spread quickly that the R1200C was beautiful, but problematic. The Bond Association actually hurt more than helped. Customers interested in practical motorcycles didn't want gimmicks and gadgets. They wanted reliable transportation. Bond's high-tech toys made the bike seem frivolous rather than serious. BMW dealers reported customer confusion about which features were real versus movie fiction. Many potential buyers arrived expecting rocket launchers and remote control capability. By 2000, BMW quietly discontinued the R1200C after selling just 11,000 units total across 4 model years. The tooling investment alone exceeded £40 million, never mind the Tomorrow Never Dies sponsorship costs. Financial analysts later cited the R1200C as a case study in how product placement can backfire spectacularly. Number 3. The stunt double's permanent injury. What the press never reported was that stunt rider Andy Bradford suffered career-ending injuries during the Hamburg parking garage sequence. Injuries BMW quietly settled to avoid publicity. The scene required Bradford to jump the R1200C down a concrete staircase while firing weapons at pursuing cars. The stunt was rehearsed extensively using ramps and calculations to ensure safe landing angles. On the fifth take, something went catastrophically wrong. Bradford launched off the top step perfectly, but the bike's front end dipped mid-flight instead of maintaining level attitude. He landed front wheel first instead of both wheels simultaneously. The impact compressed the front forks beyond their travel, bottoming out violently. The force transferred through the frame into Bradford's wrists, elbows, and shoulders. He managed to control the bike through the remaining stairs and complete the take before collapsing. Medical examination revealed bilateral wrist fractures, torn ligaments in both elbows, and a separated shoulder. The injuries required 3 surgeries and 18 months of rehabilitation. Bradford never regained full strength in his wrists and was forced to retire from professional stunt work at age 34. BMW's legal team negotiated a confidential settlement reportedly worth £700,000. The agreement included non-disclosure clauses preventing Bradford from discussing the accident publicly. Production insurance covered medical costs, but BMW contributed additional compensation to prevent negative publicity about their motorcycle causing injuries. The Hamburg stunt remains in the final film, looking spectacular and showing no hint of the disaster that followed. Bradford's sacrifice bought 60 seconds of screen time and ended his career. He now works as a motorcycle safety instructor, teaching riders to avoid the risks he once embraced professionally. Number 2. The missing gadget bikes. Of the 5 R1200C motorcycles built for Tomorrow Never Dies, only one survives with its gadgets intact. The others were stripped, sold, or destroyed, making the remaining bike worth an estimated £2.4 million. Bike number 1, the hero machine with cosmetic gadgets, went to BMW's museum in Munich. The company displayed it for 3 years before inexplicably selling it to a private collector in 2001. That collector removed all the movie modifications and restored it to stock configuration, destroying the rocket launchers, armor plating, and custom bodywork. The modified parts were discarded as scrap. Bike number 2, the high-performance riding bike, was sold at a Pinewood Studios auction in 1999. The buyer rode it regularly for 2 years, before crashing and totaling it. The remains were parted out, with pieces scattered across multiple owners. Bike number 3, the pyrotechnic platform, was deliberately destroyed during weapons testing that exceeded what appeared on screen. Special effects teams kept firing the rockets and explosives until the bike was essentially debris. Bike number 4, the stunt crash bike, was crushed for liability reasons immediately after filming Wrapped. Production insurance required destruction of stunt vehicles to prevent future unauthorized use. Only bike number 5, the parts donor, survived relatively intact. It sits in a private collection with all its gadgets still installed, though non-functional. The owner refuses to display it publicly or sell, keeping it climate-controlled and starting it monthly. Authentication documents prove its film provenance, making it the only surviving complete Bond R1200C in existence. Number 1. The recalled promotional models. BMW's marketing disaster reached its peak when they were forced to recall 23,000 promotional die-cast models of Bond's R1200C because the toys were more dangerous than the real motorcycle. As part of the Tomorrow Never Dies marketing blitz, BMW commissioned detailed 1/18th scale replicas featuring working rocket launchers that fired small plastic projectiles. The toys were given away at dealerships and included in promotional packages for customers who test rode the real R1200C. Within 6 weeks, BMW received 473 complaints about injuries from the toy rockets. The spring-loaded launchers fired projectiles at sufficient velocity to cause eye injuries, split lips, and even chipped teeth. 3 children required emergency room treatment after being struck in the face by projectiles fired by siblings. Consumer safety regulators in the UK and EU launched investigations, threatening massive fines and criminal charges. BMW faced a nightmare scenario. Their promotional toy was literally more harmful than their actual product. They issued a voluntary recall, offering to exchange the dangerous models for non-firing versions. Only 11,000 units were returned. The remaining 12,000 remained in circulation, becoming bizarre collector's items. Unopened examples with working rocket launchers now sell for £300 on auction sites, commanding premium prices specifically because they're banned. The recall became a late-night talk show punchline and further damaged the R1200C's already struggling reputation. BMW's attempt to capitalize on Bond's gadget appeal backfired so completely that internal company policy now prohibits any promotional items featuring functional weapons, even toys. The die-cast R1200C recall became a business school case study in how marketing enthusiasm can override common sense, creating legal liability from what should have been simple promotional merchandise.